So yeah, I've just seen this article on the BBC. I'm recording this at 3:44. This video got about 7 p.m. Today, on the 9th of May, Starmer discusses quitting if he's given a lockdown fine. I think it's the right thing to do. If he gets fined, he should go. The shadow members, or shadow ministers, I think it looks like some of them are also saying the same thing, that if he broke the rules, he should go. Conservatives accused him of double standards, but they're the kings of double standards, really. Durham Police launched the inquiry on Friday. We'll see what happens. It looks like the Tories want a truce on this anyways. Rees-Mogg didn't say if Starmer should resign or not if he is fined. Several members of the shadow cabinet already believed Starmer would have to resign if fined. This is analysis from Nick Eardley. By announcing that's what he will do, as we expect him to soon, they hope this will allow the Labour leader to focus on other issues. Because he can just say, look, I'm going to wait for the police investigation to finish. And if I'm found guilty, I'll resign. If not, I won't. I'll do the right thing. I'll stay on. If I'm not fined, unlike you got fined and you're still here. Why are you here? That's what I would say. They hope that will also put some pressure back on the Prime Minister, who of course didn't resign after being fined, which is true. Starmer's team are adamant he did not break the rules. Many in the Labour Party are confident Starmer will not be fined. Possibly Durham Police could come out and say, if we knew about this at the time, we would have fined Starmer, just like they said about Dominic Cummings, but they don't offer retrospective fines. Here it is here. Remember too that when Durham Police investigated Cummings, it said Durham Police has not taken retrospective action against any person, but the future of the Labour leader is now in the hands of the police. It's a risky strategy, because the police could turn around and say, look, if we knew at the time this was happening, we would have offered a fixed penalty notice, but we don't offer retrospective fines. That's a problem if the police come to that conclusion, let's put it that way. Speculation has begun growing. He's expected to make a statement today, so I'll cover it when it happens. Here's my takeaway, is that it does not speak of a hypocrisy, she added. This coming from Conservative MP Michelle Donnellan, who said this is a decision for him. He's going to have to search his soul after making this a top priority. And the problem for Starmer is he's made Partygate such a big issue, because he's got nothing else really to hammer the Tories on, even though there's a cost of living crisis, so many Brexit problems, so many other things, but he's not focusing on those. He focused on Partygate because he thought that's what would cut through, and if it's the case that, the Daily Mail digging around in his trash has come up with something, then it's not about who's the leaker, who's the source, etc. It's not really about that. It's about what actually happened, and it's up for the police to figure that out. But yeah, onto the video. It's long enough without me having another meltdown reading this stuff. If you think I'm a Tory stooge, unsubscribe, get off my channel. In my opinion, I don't think he broke the law, but we'll find out. I don't think he'll be fined, but again, we'll find out hopefully in a few weeks, and I'll keep you guys up to date with it. But onto the video. So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Starmer being investigated over alleged lockdown breaches, or breach, should I say. I know people are going to accuse me of being a Tory shill and all this other nonsense, and apparently I'm being distracted and all this other stuff because these people are stupid, genuinely very stupid. You can do two things at once, or as the Americans would say, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. TLDR, I think Starmer didn't break the rules. The only issue he might face is, were these necessary for work purposes? That's the only problem he might run into. Durham Police originally closed the case, but they claim there's new evidence. So we'll have to have a look at that. Some sort of source they have which alleges some things. Apparently they're disgruntled according to Paul Mason, but Paul Mason is a number one Starmer fan, more than Jenny Chapman apparently. So going to the actual article, Durham Police are investigating whether Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer broke lockdown rules on a visit during which he drank beer in an MP's office. This was already investigated by the Durham Police, and they don't issue retrospective fines. The force initially decided that no offence had occurred on the 30th of April last year, but said it received significant new information. And this is the key here. People are asking, was this down to the Daily Mail digging around constantly? I don't think so, because Durham Police were quite strong on the fact they wouldn't go back in and investigate, just like they were on Dominic Cummings, saying that they can't go back and look at it, there's no retrospective action, blah, blah, blah. But they claim there's significant information. Some sort of news source went forward to the Telegraph and the Daily Mail. And the Daily Mail have been digging around in Starmer's bins for over a week now. And it seems like they found something on him, but I don't know if it's anything good. for them anyways. It added that it delayed announcing the investigation until after Thursday's local election. So, just like how the Met Police didn't announce anything until after, they essentially delayed giving out the fines or announcing the fines until after the local elections. This is a bit of a red flag for me, where Starmer says he's confident he hadn't broken any rules. Kind of, it's a bit of a weasel word. Confident, it means like he believes he didn't break it. If he says, I know I didn't break the rules, very different than saying I'm confident I didn't. Bit of a red flag. But yeah, new questions over Starmer's event after the memo was leaked. So we'll talk about the leaked memo in a second. But he's facing more questions over this. Durham police are investigating last April's event because of this leaked memo, amongst other things. The Mail on Sunday published what it said was a memo showing timings for dinner before the visit would end. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting dinner. I think at the time, the only issue is, was it necessary for work meetings? The other issue is that because the UK, the different regions had different lockdown rules. That was a bit of an issue because it does muddle it a bit. You would have to look at these specific rules in Durham at the time. Starmer again insists no rules were broken. A Labour spokesperson said he had eaten between work demands, and Labour are going to argue he was just having dinner. You can't blame him for eating, which is true. You can't. It's the gathering thing that might be an issue. A party source said it would be wrong to assume activities during the visit at the times were originally planned, but we know they were because there's a memo for it. There's a schedule. The beer thing, I think that's a non-issue. It's the dinner thing, I think that's going to be more of a problem, I think. Guilty of hypocrisy over Durham lockdown events is Dominic Raab. Dominic Raab's a joke, so enough said about that. This should be, this was another problem. So Nadine Dorries saying, we are expected to believe that a curry and beers arrived for about 30 people at 10 p.m. and this was a break for a work meeting. No reasonable person believes Labour's story, so why do Durham police? Now, the irony of this photo, right, if you look at the gentleman here on the right of this photo, I should have this prepared. Okay, this is the tweet that Nadine Dorries still has up amazingly. She has not actually deleted this tweet. I had a screenshot of it just in case. This gentleman here on the right passed away in 2019. The picture on the left is a Daily Mail article about Starmer breaking the lockdown rules. The picture on the right depicts Starmer sitting next to Frank Dobson, who passed away in 2019, which was before COVID, obviously, before COVID hit the West. So, again, ridiculous from Nadine Dorries. The fact that tweet is up is just, it shows how stupid she is. You can tell this is an older picture anyways because Starmer's quite skinny in this. He's put on a fair bit of weight over lockdown, which happens, bro. There's no shame in that. But the fact that Nadine Dorries still has this tweet up is absolutely madness. Honestly, absolutely madness that this is still up. This is one of the ones in question, but this picture here, absolute fraud. Nadine Dorries is. This is the second time she's spread smears about Keir Starmer. This is the alleged thing, and this is where Tom Harwood shows himself to be another shill, which is Starmer says he had to leave. He had to have his dinner social in the miners' hall because his hotel did not serve food. His hotel served food until 9 p.m. His own note shows that he finished work at 8:40 and that the maximum time to get from the miners' hall to the hotel was 15 minutes. So what Starmer was expected to do by Tom Harwood was leave the event bang on time, 8:40, get out, get to his hotel, get to the desk at 8:55 and order some food. You'd be the most hated man in the hotel if you pulled a stunt like that. If you go to a restaurant just before closing or a takeaway or anywhere, you're a douche. You're a douche. Do you know why? Because they're packing up. They're ready to go home. Yeah, it says they're open till 10, but they're not. Typically, they might give the food out, they might serve you because they're nice. I've had that before, but you're an idiot if you do that on purpose. And Starmer would have been if he did this. And you go down to a tweet from the Purple Pimpernel. It says, unlike you, I manage a restaurant for years, Tom. 5 minutes before closing time, the kitchens are clean, the mise en place has been packed away. That's all. I think that's like the food and stuff, the ingredients. The ovens are cold and the kitchen staff are itching to leave. No front of house staff would dare accept 15 customers at that time, and which is true. 5 minutes before closing, no one's going to accept multiple customers. Ridiculous. This is the best that they have. Starmer should have gone back quickly to the hotel and ordered food right before the kitchens were due to be closed. You'd be hated. You'd be absolutely hated for doing that, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So this man obviously has no idea how restaurants or kitchens or anything works because he's a joke. And we go on to our final bit, which is from this dude here, Alex Wickham, who talks about their next allegation is that this source said that Starmer was planning an event with 40 staff, inviting them to a Christmas party in December 2020. London was in a tier 2 lockdown, which is an issue. But Labour didn't go for this because in the end it had to be cancelled because there was a tier 3 lockdown. Everything was closed essentially, which is dumb. And we know the Tories had Christmas parties around this time. So for them to argue, how dare Labour plan a Christmas party during a lockdown and then cancel because there was a lockdown, is ridiculous. I think Labour planning this out was dumb in the first place, considering what the COVID numbers look like and the fact that London was in tier 2 at the time. But yeah, honestly, this attack line is so dumb. Honestly, go scoop. Starmer's office invited around 40 Labour advisors to an in-person Christmas party in December 2020 when London was in tier 2 restrictions, and that banned indoor mixing between households and gatherings of more than 6 people outside at pubs and restaurants. You're not going to sit outside in December anyways. England's cold, bruh. The event was later cancelled. So it's a non-story then, really. It's cancelled when London was placed into tier 3. Playbook has determined that an email was sent by the Leader of Opposition to Labour aides inviting them to a Christmas party on December 17th. A Labour source said it would have seen a group of up to 40 people gathered in the same venue in separate groups of 6. So they could have done so. The only issue is I think you'd have to meet outside in groups of 6, which would have been allowed, I believe, as long as they didn't intermingle. The groups didn't intermingle with each other. So again, London indoor household mixing banned, rule of 6 outside. So again, I'm not seeing the issue unless these different groups mixed. But even at the time, if I saw this, I would have said this is dumb from Labour. A Labour source said it would have seen 40 people gathered at the same venue, separate groups. It would have to be outside. The source said they declined the invitation because they believed it appeared to be pre-arranged breach of the rules, which I don't think it would have been if they had all sat on their own table, on their separate tables in groups of 6. Could be wrong, but I think the moment you would have intermingled is the point you would have been wrong. And then Labour's response, a Law spokesperson confirmed to Playbook that the email was genuine and Starmer's office did invite staff to a Christmas party. They said it was cancelled on the 15th of December once it was announced that London would move to Tier 3, which closed pubs and restaurants. The spokesperson insisted the original plans were Tier 2 compliant, but denied to provide an explanation to how it would have been given the rule of 6 was in effect. I'll explain it to you, big boy, yeah? 6 people, 1 table, 40 people, you divide that by 6, or however that divides by 6, and what you say is everyone stays on their own tables in groups of 6, and you don't mix with the other groups. I think that would have been compliant. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't, I don't know, but that's how they could have squared the circle, essentially. Now, in my opinion, I think these attacks will backfire on the Starmer under Ford Johnson for 2 reasons. If I was Starmer, I'd just say, look, if I'm fined, if the rules were broken, it was a clear breach, or if I'd inadvertently broken the rules, I'll probably resign. That's what I would say. It gives him enough leeway to appeal it. Now, if Starmer is found guilty and resigns, okay, it's big story. Why? Because Johnson was fined and didn't resign, so it makes the Tories look worse automatically. If Starmer gets out of this, doesn't get fined, it makes the Tories look worse because they accused him of hypocrisy. They accused him of lying and blah 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 when he didn't. He didn't break the rules. He'd be cleared by Durham police. Either way, it's a no-win situation. The only way the Tories win from this if Starmer is fined and then doesn't resign. That's the only way, because then they are as bad as each other really at that point, in the sense of both were fined for inadvertent breaches so far, because the only fine Boris Johnson we've got as far as public record goes is the cake ambush, which Sunak apparently got because he was there at the wrong time. He didn't apparently know what's going to happen. That could be a lie at this point. Who knows what truth is. But if Starmer gets fined and doesn't resign, I think that would be untenable. I think it would kill the party internally, I think. But if he doesn't, If he doesn't, then, Starmer wins, I think, and it's a big win for Labour and the opposition parties. I think if he does get fined and resigns, it shows he's got more integrity than Johnson. He would say, look, inadvertently, I broke the rules without realising it. I'm going to do the right thing and resign, unlike the Prime Minister, unlike the Chancellor, etc., especially when Johnson might get up to 6 fines, I believe. I think he'll get up to 6. Or up to 4, which will be multiple. So he can't say, oh, I got ambushed by Cake, I got ambushed at a Bring Your Own Booze event, etc. For anyone, I'm going to wrap it up. For anyone who believes I'm a Tory stooge for covering this, even though I've debunked a lot of the stupid lies around this, especially from Tom Harwood, whatever his name is, and this joker over here, Alex Wickham. If you think I'm a Tory shill for giving this story airtime, what I want you to do is unsubscribe to the channel and don't watch any more of my videos. Don't watch any more of my videos, because I've got a long body of work criticising the Tories. So if you think suddenly that I'm some sort of Tory shill or I'm an idiot for covering this, you're the idiot. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can. And for anyone who thinks I am a shill for covering this, cool, so is a different bias then, because he's covered this as well. And so will any of the other lefty YouTubers who have covered this. If he is guilty, he should go. If he's not guilty, then yeah, sucks to be Tories at that point, because they don't realise if they're calling for Starmer to resign over this, it's going to look worse if Starmer comes out of this smelling of roses, and it makes them look stupid anyways because their own leader won't resign. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and I'll see you next time at a legal gathering. Maybe, I don't know. Bye.